Chefs, what is the beef? Welcome to another live video. On today's episode, we're talking about the kryptonite and one of the biggest downfalls for a lot of chefs, and that is picking in the kitchen and picking in work. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into this problem. We're going to dive into why it's a problem, and then I'm going to give you some action points that you can do to fix it going forward. So if you think about it for a sec, when you're in the kitchen, there's no time for yourself. A lot of the time, there isn't time for you. You know, you spend the good majority of your headspace is getting yourself prepared, getting through the prep list, getting your section boxed, and cooking food for other people. And when you've got that much stress and you've got that much pressure on top of you to get things done, at the end of the fucking day, a lot of the time, you just forget about yourself. Mr. Clark, what's happening? You forget about yourself. You don't make the time to have that meal, and as a result, you go for what's there, for what's convenient, for what's quick and easy. And for a lot of chefs, what's quick and easy is just picking out whatever you're cooking. So that could be a handful of chips, you know, every time you're doing that order. That could be there's some fucking sourdough bread from the breakfast shift. Boom, I'll just fucking grab the end off that and butter that. Cool, that's my food. You know, I might go hit the shop on my break and I might grab some fucking chocolate and some sugary shite. Like, that's what picking is for a lot of chefs, and I used to do it a lot myself. And where that leaves you is over the course of a couple of years, it just starts to become habit. It starts to become second nature. It didn't start like that. It started as just a way and means. You know, it started as a way of getting through your day and having some food. But usually then, after a couple of years of picking in the kitchen, your habits start to form around not eating properly at all, not having breakfast, focusing on fucking coffee, smokes, and whatever convenient thing is right there beside you. Now, weight will either start to pile on or weight will either start to fall off. Either one of those two. You know, you'll get home at night, you won't have eaten properly all day, and then it'll fucking hit you. Once the adrenaline wears off, you're starving. So you order a fucking pizza, you order a takeaway, whatever. It's Tuesday, you feel like shit, you sleep like shit as a result, or you're underweight and you're not eating at all, and you're so stressed out that you start to just fucking fade away. What's really important for you to understand is that nothing in your life is, exclusive. They're all connected. So if you're picking, you end up in a very, very bad state physically, end up in a bad state mentally. That starts having an impact in your performance and work. That starts having an impact in your personal life. Maybe you're able to go on autopilot when you walk into the kitchen, but step out of the kitchen into your personal life and you've no headspace and you've no energy for fucking anything. And that's a really, really bad situation to be in. And I don't know, for me, when I was like that, I felt like I had no work-life balance. I felt like I just resented work. It took everything out of my life and it was a pain in the hole. Now, you get to a point where you don't want to do that anymore and you want to make a change. But for so many chefs, the standard thing to go to is like, right, I'm not a health and fitness person, so I'm just going to try a diet and see what happens. The reality is the diet isn't going to fix the problem. You know what I mean? The diet isn't going to fix the problem. If you've been picking and living a chef life for fucking 5 or 10 years, doing an Atkins diet is not going to do fuck all. It might make you feel a bit better in the short term in a couple of days, but it's not going to do fuck all. Slimming World, not going to do fuck all. Like, none of these things are necessarily going to do anything for you because they're not fixing the problem. The problem is right now, chef, is how you're living your life on a day-to-day basis. So what I would always say is when you're going to fix your life, you need to put something in place that will stick around and you're able to sustain for life. So that's why keeping it simple is so goddamn important. What I say to every single chef, stop focusing on what you can't eat and start focusing on what you can eat. You know, like if you just took an hour once per week to batch cook and you had that batch cook ready and that gave you 2 meals a day, that's your nutrition, 90% of it boxed. Is it perfect? No. But will you be able to sustain that effort? Absolutely. And that's number one most in priority. Can you actually sustain what you're doing? Because the diets are not sustainable. You hate yourself for doing it. You know, after you get through 2 weeks, work gets busy, things get too fucking hectic, and then you can't do it. And you have this all or nothing attitude, whereas if I fall off one day, I'm not going back the next day. What I would say is, it's not how good you are, it's how long you're good for. So you need to have something in place for yourself that's so fucking simple that you can sustain being really good at it. So the idea of sustaining that is that you start to build habits. And one day if you get in the rhythm of batch cooking once a week and eating your 2 or 3 solid meals a day, basing those meals around good protein, good carbs and fucking greens, happy days. All of a sudden that starts to become second nature. Now you're like, right, I know when I batch cook this week, I know what I'm going to eat and work. I'm going to bring it in a Tupperware, microwave it, boom, when I get 5 minutes I'll fucking have that. Like, that's a really, really important thing to nail down for yourself. You can build off of that, but to be honest, you don't really need to do much. That's half the battle, is just getting your batch cook done and getting your prep done. The second thing then is getting the vices under control. So for a lot of chefs, sugar is going to be a problem, the same way I had a problem with sugar. And the issue with sugar is it's like a drug that no one talks about, and the more sugar you have, the more you crave it. So that's why you will struggle if you just pick at sweets and you're drinking cans of Coke and work. It's like, if you cut that out, it's going to feel like fucking you're looking for your fix, like a drug addict, because that's literally what sugar does to you. It's quite poisonous in that way. So as soon as you get your simple structure down that you can sustain over time, then the other part of it is removing the things that you're addicted to. So if you're addicted to sugar, you need to reduce that. You need to go cold turkey for a couple of days, and it's going to be a really hard week to get through those cravings. But if you break through the other side of that, you've broken the addiction to it, and therefore you can continue looking at your health, and it will get easier and easier and easier. But at some point along the line, you're going to have to address that, and if you don't address it, it's going to bite you in the arse. So that's what I would recommend. Picking is a big problem for a lot of chefs. It's very easy to fall into the trap of the industry does not fucking give employees enough time to look after themselves, to eat, to do anything that actually makes them fucking happy. So the reality is we need to be able to keep it super, super simple, fit it into our life, and then just demand that we make the time for it. I don't have time. Well, fuck, if someone's asking you to do something, mate, need 5 fucking minutes. Good luck. That's like, you have to improve your self-worth. You are worth 5 fucking minutes to yourself. So take it, demand it. Don't accept that you have to be running around like a fucking lunatic for 14 hours a day. Someone can give you 5 or 10 minutes. Someone can cover you for that time, but you have to make your stand. So I hope this has been a helpful video. If you do pick and work, leave a comment below. Let me know what you do pick at. If you really struggle with nutrition and we haven't answered that in this video, leave a comment and let me know what you do struggle with, chef, because I'd be very, very interested to know and help out whoever I can. With that in mind, I will catch everyone in the next video. Stay safe.